This is your June 24 soul story if you've got a sun rising or your moon is in the sign. I hope some of these messages are going to resonate and help you as you move through the next few weeks. It's Romy. Thanks so much for joining me on the channel. We're going to open up this month for you with the energy of the Four of Wands, and you're building upon something this month, a solid foundation, and I think that's really important. You needed to feel a little bit more secure in the way in which something was going to be progressing or moving forward. There is a lot to consider for you, especially in the early part of the month where there's a huge deluge of information coming your way, and you're going to have to sift and sort through quite a lot to figure out what's relevant. I think we have some really interesting lessons in self-belief and the wider theme of trust for you through the month of June. I think there's an invitation for Aries this month to stop accepting less, because you know what, you're not going to find peace in situations that you're not meant to settle for. That means not forcing things, but letting the change in you be the change in them or the change in the situation. Now we're into Gemini season. In this first week, we've got a whole stellium of energy coming up in the sign, meaning that there's an opportunity for some really rapid progress, and some of the conversations that take place can feel really inspiring, really creative, and really forward thinking. It feels like there's a fresh wave of energy incoming. Mercury shifts into the sign on the 3rd and is trining with Pluto, and so there's an interesting negotiation taking place that also helps you to feel more empowered, especially where there's been situations where you felt suppressed or held back, or even that you weren't being properly recognized, seen, or heard. With the Five of Swords, we feel sometimes that we're dealing with the ghost of something. It's almost like you're trying to demonstrate within a certain situation like who you are, but you feel like you're fighting against something from the past or someone else, like almost comparing. Like there's some sort of scenario like this that I'm picking up early on in June. See it as a little bit of a test, if you like, again, to sort of believe in yourself, what you have to offer, the value of what you have to say in this situation. And even though there may be some triggers that are coming in for you in and around this, there's an awful lot of opportunity for you to improve how you feel about yourself. It's just like a rise in your self-esteem based on a new emotional response to what I would say is a very old pattern. Remember, people are just playing out a role right now. And more so than ever before, in a spiritual perspective, the directive is one of very inward focus, and you'll be seeing very clearly the way in which this new path or this new sort of way that you're supposed to be moving through your life is starting to emerge more and more clearly. June is a really powerful month for that. Now we've got this gorgeous energy on the 4th with Venus conjunct the Sun. This Cazimi gives a very influential energy. It's potent, especially when we come at a place from deeply nourishing and knowing the value of who we are, what we have to give, and we do right by ourselves. Yeah, back to this, stop accepting less and letting the change in you be the thing that then creates the catalyst for everything else to start to respond differently to you. And this is like a bigger theme really around your trust of like what is actually unfolding for you in this moment in time, how it's serving you, how you can navigate with this. Two of Pentacles says there are some things that you're juggling right now. There is some issues around finding balance or a sense of stability. Interesting that we have both the Four of Wands and the Two of Pentacles with these figures on very high-rise buildings. And so it's like there's an elevated feeling in regards to your growth. You're definitely evolving. And I think the key is, how can you respond from your higher self in this moment? That's what I'm really taking from the interpretation of these figures being up and elevated in their position. This is an opportunity for you to trust in what feels right, but also to reflect on how could I trust more? How could I look at this situation and understand that I'm in a specific stage or a cycle, and that's changing. Therefore, I don't need to cast such intense judgment or criticism or even allow any fear or anxiety to stop me in my tracks, because whatever is moving to me and through me right now is temporary, it's fleeting. And, you know, even where there are things that are coming together in a good way, there's an understanding that you can also make them better. So not even stopping to kind of cling on too tightly to when things show up in a positive light, but still seeking more, opening to receive more. And the new moon in Gemini arrives on the 6th, right? So the stellium gathers here, and you know, it is going to feel like that sort of takeoff energy. There's something quite sort of igniting for you, I think, around that time. So ideas and inspiration feel incredibly adventurous for you and stimulating, and I think some of the conversations feel much more activating in your mind. What's interesting is that in and around that new moon, because of something that you're hearing, you're participating in, or you know, conversations that you're having, I feel like it could lead to a change of heart or a change of mind. What's the difference? Interesting. What we might find is that if you're coming to a place where your mind is trying to persuade you or take you off in a different direction, that it may be there's more influence coming from external sources. So I would just keep an eye on that, because your heart is sort of almost like that direct channel to your inner truth, that sacred flame, like that burns brightly and is guiding you intuitively to where you're supposed to get to. And sometimes the mind can try and persuade us that a different set of circumstances, a different set of actions are appropriate at this moment in time. But I feel like you kind of have to lead with your heart in a situation. And if you feel a deep conflict, just check into the degree to which you might be being influenced or activated by things that are happening around you instead of within you. We've got the energy of the Lovers coming in there, a Gemini card here. It does denote that there are also some important choices that need to be made, and you're certainly weighing something up. I think there is a little bit of uncertainty, but you know what? Uncertainty, Aries, can be empowering. Yeah, because it's almost showing you a way to keep striving and thriving and blossoming into your brilliance in spite of what's going on around you. And I think that's a wider collective lesson that we're all learning in our own unique individual pathways. From a relationship perspective, we have some stability and something to grow on, build upon, if you like. But again, that Five of Swords indicates to me that there's that challenge, if you like, and sometimes the challenge can simply be getting over where there perhaps has been an issue in the past, or a pattern that keeps repeating, or an issue around trust that they've changed, that this will work, that, you know, what's on offer is going to be sustainable, or indeed going to meet your needs and wants, and not necessarily romantic for all of you. You know, this could be something that's being brought to the surface for you in other connections in your world at this moment in time. Remember, through third house energy of Gemini season, sometimes we have to make short-term decisions and choices in order to help facilitate movement and progress to get to the next phase, the next stage, if you like. And so it's accepting almost, I think, that some of the things that come up through the month of June may not necessarily stay that way. You know, they could be a little bit temporary, but nonetheless they will be appropriate to support and help the continued movement forward. And I think that's what really matters. We've got the Two of Cups here. You've got some beautiful influences coming in that are helping you to come into a lovely harmonious kind of vibrational match to something or to someone. I feel like in this month we kind of get on the same page, and I think that's important as well. If you feel like you've been at loggerheads, or your vision's been different to their vision, or you've been trying to advocate or champion something maybe in your work, you know, in your family dynamic, and it's just been difficult to kind of get that traction, even though we're still in a place where you're having to kind of consider different options and be mindful of the energy in the room, if you like, I actually see like a bigger piece coming together for you that's actually helping to bring that perfect fit into the equation. You know, June has some beautiful energy as well from a celebratory perspective. You've got that Four of Wands coming in, and, you know, as we move further into the month, you know, you're going to start to find more and more reasons to celebrate and acknowledge both your progress, but also to deeply appreciate certain things that are happening around you in ways that also remind you. I think there's a sort of wave of nostalgia that comes through, and it's kind of almost like bringing something back from the past, but refreshing it and making it current and feel resonant for where you're at today is also what's coming through. Now we've got Mars shifting out of your sign and into Taurus on the 8th, so you took that energy boost. It served you well. Now we're going to start to become a little bit more deliberate in the way in which we want to take that action, because we're looking for that sustainability, that nourishment. You do have the Eight of Swords, and it feels like somewhere you're still under the illusion that your wings are a little bit clipped, or that you're again in some ways suppressed. This goes back to my my point about accepting less, because in and of itself, it starts to kind of breed this stress, this anxiety, this feeling of being limited or bound. And actually the cage door is open. So we have a choice here. We always have a choice in any given situation. You know, you may not like the choices that are necessarily being presented, and that could be part of the problem at this moment in time. If that is the case, I do want to remind you that, you know, we can still hold true to our vision. And it's not that we have to accept or compromise. What we do need to do is sort of get out of the way to allow perhaps a higher perspective or a bigger picture to come in and actually meet the needs of, you know, anyone else or the bigger situation that might be unfolding right now, where we get kind of caught up in our own fixation to try to solve this in a way that's going to meet each and every one of the things that we are seeking, and then somehow talking to ourselves and saying, well, that means that they won't get that, or this won't happen because of this, and we start to create those much bigger stories, right? So there's a sort of lesson again back in this way in which something can come together that can serve all parties. That feels very important. We do, however, on the 11th have Mars squaring with Pluto, and here's like a kind of power and fear conflict that's playing out. With Pluto retrograde, it is going to be going on within you as well. You know, you're self-directed through that cycle. So asking yourself, what is keeping me small? What is stopping me from feeling like I can, be empowered in this situation? So a little bit uncomfortable in terms of how that will surface for you through mid-month. Nonetheless, it can be a very galvanizing energy, again, giving you the wherewithal and the opportunity to consider things a little bit differently, which again might bring us back to that point of changing your heart or your mind in regards to something. So as we move into Cancerian energy, Venus in the sign the 16th, Mercury in Cancer on the 17th, and then building to the solstice energy, beautiful solstice with the sun in Cancer on the 20th this year. And, for me, like, what I really tune into for Aries around that time is just like this sort of big sigh of relief. Like, it just feels like there's something that you get off your chest, or that gets taken off your plate, or there's just a shift or a change in circumstances around that time that definitely help you to feel a little bit lighter or more optimistic about how something can progress or change, especially if you've been feeling like nothing's changing, and now all of a sudden it's just like more and more details are starting to come in. I want to say, like, can you decipher the codes yet? The signs are coming up more and more clearly, and this is about the direction that you're supposed to be moving in, and you'll feel that very strongly through the month of June. Now, right after solstice, we also have the first of two full moons in Capricorn on the 21st. The second one will come in July 21st. So, there's almost like a second chance to kind of take something and really sort of take it all the way, is what Capricorn wants us to do. Aim high, be disciplined and consistent, and really allow yourself to kind of fully release or fully surrender into the experience of something. Solstice is holding space, and because we feel a sense of relief, it almost makes way for a reminder about where some sense of ambition or determination or a goal, an idea that you had, is now reformulated and sort of asking something of you. but at the same time it's about, you know, what we can let go of. And I think for you there's a big aspect around perception of self, especially in the public realm, you know, like how you really consider the impact that you have in life and the way that the things that you're doing, especially from a work perspective or, you know, out in the community, some major change that's taking place over those next few weeks between those two full moons, which is also going to be super beneficial, because I feel like it helps you to step up further. You know, it gives you a new sense of understanding and a confidence boost, if you like, a deeper opportunity to foster more trust in yourself and in the process. And again, all feeds back to this accepting, not accepting less. Yeah, very, very powerful time actually for you as we move toward the end of the month. And of course we'll have Saturn stationing retrograde in Pisces, so that slow down to make sure that the lessons that we've learned over this last few months, you know, we really integrate and we take the time to make sure that if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. Now, if you're new to the channel, my last 3 cards we do look at in the extended version of my reading, Aries. You can find the link in the comment and description box underneath. We talk for about 30 minutes. We'll look at a personal question and a relationship card. If it's resonating or you want to hear more, I hope you'll join me. It's a way for me to keep showing up for the free readings every month on the channel, so thank you. I'm going to go ahead and just clarify these cards and see the direction we're going to be taking that extended reading. We've got the 10 of Cups coming through, 5 of Cups. All the decks listed are always, all the decks I use are always listed below. And if you want to check out my website, romywiser.com, you're going to find over there my sacred titles, my oracle deck, Life Soul Vision, and my book, Musings. You'll find ways to work with me, any current services that I've got on just now, and my sacred soul support, beautiful guided meditations to help you on your spiritual journey. This month there's a brand new solstice journey to take for your rituals. You've got some really beautiful cards coming in this month. Okay, 6. Page of Pentacles. There is some uncertainty, I think. That Hanged Man and Moon coming through, sort of leaning into that uncertainty with regards to a certain situation for you, especially on an emotional level. Nonetheless, as we said, uncertainty can be empowering. We're being taught something about how to manage that experience. So this is Life Soul Vision. Let's see what my deck wants to add to this. Waterfalls of White Light, Solstice, of course, beautiful. We've got Detours from the Divine coming in here. We've got the Spirit Bear, Ancestral Protection. I love that. Blossoming Soul Song, beautiful. And the Sun, Charged in Light. Okay, I love that. We're going to pull one more oracle for Aries for the month of June. Let's have a look. What do we have for you? We've got the energy of vows. Okay, let's explore that in the extended. I hope you'll join me. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful solstice, a wonderful month of June. Take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.